Welcome to Us versus Movies. I am your host tonight, Dustin, joined by the incredible, edible Kevin.
You gotta stop saying that. It's so weird.
I don't. That's the first time I've said that one.
No,
I've
dude,
said
it
that
is
you're
not. It's
incredible.
no, it's not, dude.
Incredible.
You keep throwing
No.
this weird edible thing because you watched a commercial and you thought, hey, those worms, those worms, Jesus.
Yeah, you can't even talk right now, so fuck you. Um. Anyway, Kevin's here talking about Doors, the 2021 sci-fi anthology.
Not the Doors, the band that your mom was listening to when she was getting cranked and pushed you out a couple years later. Oh,
He's like, fucking turn up, Morrison. I'm fucking squeezing this baby out now. Ugh.
yeah.
No, we're not talking about that one. We're talking about the hour 21 minute, what was it? Bloody Disgusting co-produced joint with a bunch of other peoples. It just came out this week on the March 23rd. It is a direct-to-video, so there's no real budget reveal, and it has a lot of people involved in it. Was it 3 stories or 4? I can't even. It's 4 stories. Now that okay.
4? Yeah, I guess technically 4.
Technically 4 because of the thing at the end of the thing. So we got a lot of writers. We got Chris White, who's known for VHS. So here's like, oh, a lot of this makes sense. 3 directors: Saman Kesh, Jeff Desmond, and Dugan O'Neill, who also stars in one of them.
I enjoyed the VHSs. Not all the stories were runaway hits, but I enjoyed that presentation of those, like, I forget the word, but it's when the collection of short films or ideas.
Anthology.
And thank you. That's housed in this VHS theme gimmick. And whereas Doors does the same things as the stories are told by the Doors, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I figured out, oh, this is an anthology, because I didn't watch the trailer or read anything about it, which really wish I kind of maybe had, would have made me be like, why do I hate this so much? Then I was like, oh, well, this could have been perhaps a lot more engaging to the audience instead of, I don't know, just overall, all the 4 stories suffer from they don't show, they just tell. Like, show me, don't tell me. That's my main thing here with this movie, is just show it to me, don't tell me about it. And if you do not have the budget for your indie sci-fi, then perhaps scale it back a bit. Do something you can do.
What do you mean, like, visually? I thought the visuals were fine.
No, the visuals are fine, but I mean, like, okay, so the screen with the little magnets that would have font and stuff instead of, like, just hearing, I don't know, a voice or something. Like,
oh, you mean like
bass and some magnets, and it would just be like, you did that. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is breaking me out of your movie so hard right now. I was like, you're taking me away from 4 of the worst young actors I've seen to this, and then back to those 4 young actors and that are horrible, and I just can't. I can't do this. So, the other thing I want to say about this is that I really feel like this is a 2020 pandemic movie, and I hate to say that, but it just has this vibe of, I don't know, there's some of the verbiage that they used when discussing their script, a lot of the themes that happened throughout 2020 just seem really present in this, but in a, I don't know, not in a, like, engaging, continuing the conversation way, but more of like, remember this? Were you here when this happened? And I was just like, oh, yeah, I guess, Did you have any initial thoughts before we start?
Yeah, you know what I always think of is when I see this anthology style of 3 little stories encompassing one event.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this movie on accident, and I want to say it was called The Signal. And I thought that movie did it really well, mostly because I too didn't really know what was going on at first. I knew nothing about it. Like I said, I just stumbled across it.
Mhm.
And it's basically a signal that's going over this emergency airwaves on the TV, the radio, and it's kind of it's tripping a thing in everybody's brain where they just kind of snap, and it
Okay.
turns into what was that comic from Avatar that I loved so much? The
The
Crossed.
Crossed, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has that kind of vibe where people are just almost in the zombie-esque state, and you have three little stories about some friends that are interacting with it, a house of people that are kind of locked off to the side that are interacting with it, and then another team of people just trying to get to a resolution, maybe an escape plan through a subway. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They've just plucked these three little stories out there, and it kind of, or this feels almost a little disjointed, where
Yeah.
I feel like the doors are just a character in the movie. And when they are introduced in each story, they all felt different.
Yeah.
Like when you deal with the kids in the detention, they're very stiff while the story around them is building up to this crescendo. And I'm kind of into it because I want to see what's happening around them and how they react. And then when you get to the first interaction of the door ish, that's kind of, you remember that when you're little, the little, you probably already said this, the magnet game where you put the little pin
Yeah,
magnet
yeah,
to
man.
the bald guy's head and give him hair and like a goatee.
Yeah.
And you're like, when I grow up, I want to have horrible facial hair like this.
I'm gonna have the fucking Lemmy. They're just
Oh,
like,
that, I mean,
what?
that's actually cool, but
Yeah, no. But I'm gonna be bald as fuck. They're like, oh no, you gotta save some for the top. No, no, no.
yeah, seems like a lot of work to save it for the top.
And there's always one kid that's a little too slow with the mustache. You'll be like, you gotta put more up there, man. All right? Know what world you're in. You can't do that. You gotta have more up there. All right.
But I've
You
been
can't have a
growing this
tiny
mustache
stash.
all summer.
But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of the anthologies. I definitely feel like the door or the doors, either they
No,
needed to have a consistency
mm,
with the doors where it was like one character or one like hive mind character that I felt they were
yeah,
trying to do.
it could maybe transcend each story in a way
Yeah,
to be that linking thing because the doors just didn't have enough gusto.
exactly. Or it needed just to be each door needed to be a completely different character, but presented in the same way of like, oh, this door has, this voice and this door has this voice. And so like one's like heavy bass and then another one's like, I don't know, we're inside it, so it doesn't even matter, like that stuff. Where we're
Yeah.
like, okay. So it's like I like the idea of this. I just didn't really get into any of these stories.
Well, it was
And
similar to that trailer I sent you for the movie Portals, and I was like, "Wow,
yeah,
this is almost identical." Okay, I guess when we put that idea out into the ether, everyone just starts picking up on it. The portals just start randomly sprinkling out through the world, and what do? I don't know. You gotta watch the movie.
yeah. Well, and that was the other thing. So yeah, so just to start it. So we're starting off with, we start off with these drone shots over forest. They really love these drone shots over forest shots, and I'm like, yeah, it
Mhm.
looks good, but what are we doing with this?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we just see Underwear Man walking in a very well lit field with a heavy shadow in front of him, and hearing just the most
It's like
poorly written 911 phone calls ever.
these 911 phone calls. I'm really kind of was okay with them dialogue wise. It was just how everyone was selling it. There was no urgency on the call. There was no, they weren't frantic. It wasn't like these doors have shown up and just taking over half of the population with them on the earth. And
Yeah.
they're kind of going into full swing. And every 911 call is like, there's one of those things outside. I can see it outside my window. Sir, do not engage it. What are you doing?
Should I
Should I
get my
go?
gun? There's like 12 of them. And they're like, no, 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 don't get your gun, dude. And
I
it's
was like,
like,
yeah, get your gun. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I was like, I
What
want
are
to
you
see. Go to
doing?
this story right now. I want to see what's going
Yeah, that's
on.
what I. And all honesty, I thought we were just gonna go over there, and then like maybe underwear guy was just going to be one of the 911 calls, and we start
Yeah,
following him. That's what I thought was gonna happen.
yeah. That's what I thought was being introduced to us. You know,
Hmm.
like okay, we're gonna follow. This is our first guy.
Yeah,
We're gonna follow this. And I find like that those 911 calls and the way they present this world to be really misleading because they're just like doors are everywhere, but then we only see like three. Like, and we see all these empty shots of cities and stuff, but never like a door sitting on like a highway or anything like
yeah,
that, or in
yeah.
like a park or a plaza or nothing. I'm just like, well, where are all these doors? You're just showing me a bunch of emptiness, but like you were filmed last year where that would have been very easy to film. You know, like
Maybe that's
empty
why those
LA
movies
wouldn't have been.
started popping up.
Yeah, I was like, empty LA is really easy to film when LA's everyone's home. So wow me with something different. Um, and then, yeah, so then after our 911 calls and the underwear man, we just explained via this like podcast guy kind of,
Oh, my
um,
midnighters out there.
yeah, that like these doors have shown up, over half the population's disappeared, and people have gone crazy and stuff, and then we're in detention. I guess it's detention. I don't know why Rory was in detention though. Now that I think about it.
I thought they were going to take a test because he was like, "Hey,
Yeah, no,
give
I
me all your
wasn't thinking.
phones, pencils down. I'm going to time you."
Yeah. And we meet a girl in high school in 2021 with a shirt that says "fuck 'em all." And I was
Yeah,
like, "Nah, you're getting sent home. That shit's getting turned inside out. Nah,
yeah,
you don't get to wear "fuck 'em all" around the. You don't get to take the PST SATs wearing a "fuck 'em all" shirt.
yeah.
No, that's
I
not
think
happening.
wasn't she non-binary? Was that supposed to
Yeah,
be the
no, I'm
thing?
sorry. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, you're totally correct on that because and then we see them pining over this girl who's wearing a DN00 like shirt jacket thing. I don't even know what the fuck it was.
it was like a track jacket.
Yeah, and it's just like horrible drawing of the two of them on like a unicorn flying
Real,
away.
like, real
It was
bad.
it was real like why do you keep showing me this like you're proud of it? Because they cut to this drawing like 9 times and she keeps like or they keep thickening a line over and over. I'm just like, that's not gonna make that better.
Well,
It's
what it was
bad.
is they introduce us to these characters like almost in the middle of them doing something, and they don't really take the time to introduce. Like the teacher could have did like a maybe a quick roll call. You could have maybe did like a quick sentence or two underneath them, or he could have blurted out what they're doing, why they're here.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
something.
like a quick thing instead of just filming the back of the jacket and just looking at the I think her name was Ash.
Yeah.
Just she's sitting there and she's just kind of like you said, pining over the not Rory, but the I think Liz girl, and we get it a lot. And then there's this guy sitting in the back named Jake, and he's just kind of being snarky. He's like, "Hey, our phones." And they put the phones in there, and then the phones start. The teacher gathers up the phones and he puts them in this cabinet, locks them, and then he's all right. Everyone, get ready to take this
You have an
test.
hour.
Yeah, and then
We
I don't
don't
know.
know
I
what
was
for.
like,
He doesn't even say for a test. He just says you have an hour. You
yeah,
know?
like I was like, is it meditation? Do they put their head down? And then I was like, are these Harriers? Are these like F-16s that are flying over their head? Because one of them's like stupid planes later, and I was just like, what's happening? Is there like a war going on or
Yeah, I was like, what are
earthquake,
these planes
emergency
doing to
vehicle?
these doors that I can't see? I
Yeah, I
didn't
was like,
really
are
get
they?
that. I get that they were trying to make that like dramatic, but then I was like, well, unless they're like fucking fighting these doors in the air, like I don't
Yeah, are they
understand why.
nuking them? Are they just like hit with napalm or something?
Yeah, and why is this school in the flight path? You know,
Yeah, that's why
of
I thought it
every
was just.
plane in the area.
That's why I thought like they were taking these tests. The doors were going to start popping up. It's maybe the doors emit something, radiation, or just demons come out of the doors, or whatever, and everyone starts freaking out, mass hysteria. People start Kurt Cameron disappearing or something,
Yeah,
and you're like, "Is this the rapture? Like, what's happening?" And there's jets scrambling, and I was like, "Okay, we're in the shit." But then I don't feel like the world, like you said, like they leave it up to the radio podcaster guy to explain everything, but he's just kind of like, it's weird, man. Everything's
I
weird.
love
I'm
the
like,
weirdness. Have you heard this shit? It's weird. Yeah. But we
yeah.
don't even get him until like in between the stories, kind of like connecting the stories.
Well, you get,
Almost like a cheap introduction to the next story.
yeah, like he's almost the linking character.
Yeah. Well, and then so, and the kids, the teacher, he gets some phone call, freaks him out. He leaves. The kids are just sitting there. They're like, okay,
Well,
what's going
the
on?
kids' cell phones have been just going off like
Like
4th of
and the
July.
teacher's just like, clearly he's getting some world changing news, but he's like, you guys don't need to concern yourself. You're just children. Fucking stay here. Principal gets on, gives this, like you said before with the 911 call, sells this horrible. I was like, you're not a principal. You wouldn't, like, why are you talking? Yo, homies, you still in the fucking school? All right,
Yeah.
like, just stay lit, stay where you are. Don't fucking move, you know?
Stay lit, kids.
Yeah, like, it was just like, like, I don't know. It just felt really like they just got someone to be like, all right, tell them they're in lockdown. What the fuck is that? I was like, active shooter. And then like the students kind of had to say like, oh, maybe there's a shooter. And I was like, you think all of those airplanes means there's an active shooter? I mean, are we even pretending that someone knew what the like protocol is for a lockdown in a high school in the modern era? Because obviously we don't.
Well,
We don't.
that's the problem, right? We don't know what's happening outside of the high school, which is
Yeah.
fine, but we need some sort of, as the audience, we need some sort of marker of what moment, where are we when these doors are happening, i.e., the doors show up, population disperses. Is this a Sunday class, a Saturday class, or extracurricular? What's happening? Because they seem like a different range of personalities of kids.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Jake guy came off like a little brash and kind of like not a top learner.
Exactly. Yeah, he kind of came off like I don't know, just a typical popular dickhead, I guess you could say, like just a real dickhead character,
like a regular Joe student, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you have,
and then you fuck them all.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, well, not their best album, but.
And then you got the love interest, who also doesn't seem like she's there for school. You know? And then you have Rory, who's like this kind of mousy book nerd.
Yeah, she's like, you're in charge when I step out. She's like, they won't do what I say. I was like, okay.
Mr. Johnson, I don't want to be in charge anymore. And I was just like, listen, Rory, it's crazy that you think you're in charge at all.
I don't think she knew she wasn't.
Yeah. No, she says it too many times for me to not believe her. So they decide to find a radio. They don't know how it works until one of them figures out they have to plug it in and give it power. And then they just the way they film this, and I just feel bad for the main student, Ash, because they make them just kind of hang their mouth open and look befuddled the entire time. Like, I don't know what direction they were given, but it was just kind of
confused. Be confused.
You're confused.
There's a big
like,
digital magnet wall in front of you. This is a radio from when your mom was a child. Be confused.
Everything. Just only one look for this person. Just, it was just like, please stop. Just let Jake talk. I don't know. Please just let him talk.
Jake's like,
he's the only one that seems to could act in this scene. It's not great, but at least he's a believable dickhead. So that's something. They can't make real heads or tails of the information they're getting.
The information they're getting on the radio is like a live stream of some dude shooting something.
Yeah, the military's just like, fucking get down. I was like, so where's that? Where's the military shooting people going towards the doors?
Yeah, are they shooting people at the door? Do the doors got guns? Like, what's...
Yeah, oh man, I would love it if the doors got guns. They're just heavy bass and machine guns. You're like, was that the machine gun or the bass? I don't know. Oh, I'm bleeding. It was both. So
God damn these doors. God damn these doors.
These doors, they're taking my whole fucking family from me. Oh man, that baby, fucking dubstep's never dead. Skrillex is the new god.
Oh,
But no, instead they just leave the hallway. And Kevin, I am not a fucking fan of when we've seen a calm and collected room and they've been in there for all of like 5 minutes and then they step out and it looks like 3 days worth of damage was done to this high school and they didn't hear a fucking thing.
And
They
that's the
don't
thing,
see
dude.
a
I didn't know
fucking
what
person.
is happening. Like when the
Yeah.
principal's like, everyone, is their kids still here? I was like, I don't know. Are you open today?
Was
Like,
this a prison or something? Am I at a Wendy's? Can I get a number 6?
yeah.
Fucking
It,
large size, I guess.
and
Oh
then the
no,
whole
high school?
school,
Never mind.
its whole school's flipped. And you're like, well, there's just all this disarray. Like, did the teacher guy do all that shit on his way
Yeah,
out?
Mr.
Rude.
Johnson's like, I'm coming, mama.
Yeah. And I just I didn't get that either of, I didn't like, at least maybe if you heard like crazy frantic shit happening outside the
Oh,
doors and they don't want to open the doors and there was people screaming or just totally pure anarchy, right?
mm-hmm.
Nothing. You could have just threw in a cheap sound effects, or just a cheap, whatever. I don't even know, like anything to represent that.
Yeah.
But
Instead,
yeah,
they
it
just
was.
like walk down a hallway.
It's a dark hallway. There's barely any lights, and then and then there's just the wall.
Yeah.
That's a door with the magnets, and the magnets they really keep going to this tight shot, and I guess it's speaking to Ash. She's linked in. She's real Professor X with this shit.
Yeah, even though we've heard like, hey, if you're hearing voices, check yourself into a hospital. That's like the one
hmm
thing they were able to make out. But Ash, nah, not them. They're just like, I'm good, dog. Look, I'm real confused about everything, so this does not phase me.
Yeah.
I'm confused about life. I'm confused about why I'm in high school. I'm confused how I got to the school wearing this shirt today. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why it was a Saturday class. Wear what you want as long as you show up.
Where's you want? Would it fuck them all, huh? Yeah, fuck it. It's Saturday. Let's roll with it. Fucking Teacher Johnson does not care.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so we just see this. I don't know. It's just, yeah, Ash is staring at the magnet thing. Sometimes the CG of this works. Sometimes it looks really
It's
like
just odd. It's just kind of this odd.
Yeah, there's like too much black on the screen. And they had to start
Yeah.
to like fuck with, I don't know, the visuals and shit like that. It looked real separated, real. Just it's not great. It's like the worst door, and that's saying
I think
something.
I think it being presented the way it was kind of confusing, especially that's the first one you're introducing to the viewer.
Yeah,
It's either you make it kind of creepy and maybe not all the way in the frame, or you just make it grandioso like you did in the third story, where it's clearly just look at it floating in all its majestic,
yeah,
extra animated way.
yeah. And so then, like, we have this. I don't know. Ash is just like, I'm gonna go in it, and the rest are like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I was like, why are you guys just sitting here staring at it?
Yeah, I get it.
Like,
It's this alien thing. Let's all register it. We should go.
yeah, but like, okay, like, what happened to this school? And then there's this thing, and what is this thing? And I'm gonna say, Kevin, this is when I was the most disappointed because I was like, oh, they're not actual doors. Because I thought it was gonna be actual doors, like just crazy amount of doors. Like we're talking like Monsters Inc. level amount of doors,
Mhm.
where you see all these different doors, all these kind of just like beautiful carpentry work done on these doors, and then that's what people are like. Those have shown up, and people are going through and like never fucking coming back, and you don't know what's coming out of them. And I
Mhm.
thought that would have been really cool just to see it like just this beautiful door like in the middle of a highway or in a cafeteria,
Yeah.
or and like different ones like just like a metal fire door. Just you're like, where the fuck did a metal fire door come from? And there's no fire need for a fire door here.
Or at least if it's like, I think that would lean it towards like a fantasy sci-fi, which is I'm fine with. But
Yeah,
to keep in a whole like, even if it was a portal or like looked like little segment of space, or if it had
yeah.
like
Or
alien
just keep it
type
door
any,
shape. I don't know. Like maybe not a whole wall. Call this
yeah,
walls, not
and
doors.
and that's what I mean. I just kind of wish to whatever that they wanted it to be, I'm fine with, but I just wish it was a little more clear in that initial presentation.
Yeah. But instead, these kids they just kind of have like this. glow up moment where,
Well, they just pick teams, right? They just pick sides.
yeah,
Like Liz is so infatuated with why Ash is just staring at this wall, and then Jake and Rory are just kind of like we're about as opposite as it gets, and we both agree we should leave.
yeah. So they fight, and eventually Ash ends up just pushing them all through the fucking door, like pushing Jake and Rory through
Oh,
the
dude, you're
door.
kind of skimming over a lot because
I mean, go
Ash just
ahead.
keeps getting like she hears the door, right? It's entering her mind, and it kind of really cuts to these almost like silent movie type title cards that pop up.
Yeah,
And
which
it's
I
like
hated.
they're like I didn't think it fit
No, I
initially,
didn't.
but I was
The
like, well, if it's like
font, I don't know. I mean, the font and the close up, it really kept breaking me from the movie. Like
yeah,
it just felt like I was just
it took
suddenly
me
in a
out of
different.
it. I think
Yeah,
if you just did like a crazy push in on her face and a tight on her eyes and then threw like a voice over it, I'd been like, okay. Like I could see, oh, that's a kind of a voice with some feedback or a little bit of a filter. That must be the door
yeah,
talking to her. I've been told already they lose their mind possibly.
yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying is like it would have been personally, I think it would have held my interest more, or maybe been more like just interesting to the story if each door had its own unique voice, or if it just had the same hive mind voice. Instead, you get like these, I don't know, just like scattered, like different voices, sometimes layered, sometimes talking at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes taking turns. I mean, the third one probably did it the best, but even then, I was like, God, I wish you were like, I don't
Maybe the
know.
first one
Just,
story.
yeah. Yeah, definitely just the first story, but just I don't know. I just wanted the doors to have more personality, and I felt like they didn't, especially when they talked. And the first one, definitely just the weakest one when it came to presenting the door. Just like the weird close up, the bass, just it
Well,
just
like you
didn't.
said, your movie's called Doors. You pictured one thing in your head. It's such a common thing, and as the viewer, you're like, well, you didn't show me any of that. You showed me this big black wall
Yeah, of magnets moving constantly.
and yeah, like magnet shavings, and you're like, I just so I can see where all that. I think everyone would just be like, bah.
Yeah, well, I just think that it just didn't help the like this, especially in this first story. The door is not a character. Like, I don't
Hmm.
care that it talks. I don't care that it, has lines. Basically, it's not a character. It fails miserably at that. So,
And
but
then,
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
well, yeah. So Ash is battling with what the door's presenting to her. Just Ash, the door's just like, hey, do you play on,
Dude,
play up?
fuck them all.
And she's
I'm
like,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, we can read too.
I'm going to go ahead and try to kiss Liz because I want to because I love her. And Liz is like, what's going on? What's wrong with you, Ash? I was like, Liz, is that your only character motivation? It's just what's going on with her. There's no fear. Like no one's really scared. Everyone's just kind of Liz isn't just worried. She's more worried about Ash, but Ash is kind of just all spacey. And you're like, all right.
Yeah,
And she's like, you're everything. And then the J guy comes back and they start arguing about let's go, let's go. What are you doing? And then they try to do the kiss thing, and he breaks it up, and he's like, "What's going on?" Because Jake likes Liz as well,
yeah,
and it just turns into this weird awkwardness, and they have a little scuffle. Ash gets thrown to the ground, and Jake's like, "I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to start any shit. I don't know."
yeah. It's really he's like all of a sudden he becomes very apologetic because I think he in his mind he's like, oh, I just hit like a girl,
Right.
and then Ash is like, don't call me a girl, and then boom, kicks him in the gut, pushes him and Rory back because Rory's glasses broke during the initial shuffle.
What a
So
typical nerd. The
yeah,
nerd glasses credo is we protect those glasses like they
yeah.
are alive.
Because if they fall off in a
You're
movie, you're
fucked.
fucking donezo. Like
Yeah, you might
that's
as well
it.
just, you know,
Just fucking swallow your own tongue and save yourself some time. All
yeah,
right.
just, I'm sorry, guys. My glasses are broken. I am literally worthless. But you're the only
I'm
doctor we
about to
have.
die.
We're fucked.
You're super fucked because I'm pretty sure I'm being eaten alive right as we speak. Oh, they're dead. Yeah. So, and then Ash is just like, oh, I didn't mean to totally fucking boot party them into the fucking door, but I did. Door
And
starts
I
talking to
liked
her
it.
more. She's mesmerized by it. Liz is like, we gotta just go. Like, We still just need to go. And Ash is really trying to figure out who farted still. And it's probably them. They farted, but they'll never know. And she's like, they're like, I'm sorry, I gotta touch this door, man. I got a stairway to heaven. And Ash disappears, and we're left with Liz, whatever. And then this part where I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Because they make it seem like at first you have to just enter the doors. The doors can't pull you through or whatever. But clearly, as we see with two of the stories, the doors can make you just kind of fucking enter or exit how they want or whatever. So you're just like, okay. And it just kind of like swallows up everything. And you're just like into story one. And I was like, wow, it's a pretty disappointing story. And then we get back to the fucking Midnighters podcast, and he's just like, fucking weird shit, bros. Like, super weird shit. We got this knockers program. And that's when he reveals he's like, the fucking scientists, the remaining ones, not the good ones, because they all died, apparently. They're calling these things doors. And we're going to send people through them, and we're going to call them knockers. And I was like, oh, man. It was real dumb. Like,
well, even the movie
you've made fun of your own gimmick. Like, what the fuck?
Well, no, even the movie's like, knockers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the movie's like, fuck it. Don't even give me... Like, the guy's like, don't even get me started on that. And I was just like...
It's like, bro, you wrote it.
And yet here we are. And yet here we are.
Like, bro, this is on you.
Yeah, it's like, you guys pick, like... And that's where I feel like this is like a weird 2020 film where it's like something like that would have been discussed last year of like, oh, we can't say knockers anymore. You fucking kidding me? Not in my 2020. No knockers here. So, in 2021, we're like, yeah, fucking knockers. knockers all day. And so then we're just, again, we're giving narration. We're giving some forest shots with a drone. And then we're on the beach, Kevin. We're on the beach, and we're hearing a poem. And I'm kind of getting tired of hearing poems in movies because they all seem to end the same way. That's all I got for right now. And I'm like, dude, you just kept like a 5-minute fucking promo on me. What do you mean that's all you got? That's all you need. We're done. Like, I'm done listening. I tuned out like 14 stanzas ago. I don't even know where I am anymore. I'm just on the beach with people that look like shitty astronauts.
I didn't mind those suits. I kind of liked them. They had like a funky, like low budget, kind of cool.
They were very steampunk
aesthetic to them.
They were like steampunk knockers.
Yeah, you like the steampunk?
Yeah, I mean, with the little camera thing on top of it. I didn't hate it. I liked that they had like written their own names on it.
Yeah, real like, almost military-esque.
Yeah. But so yeah, we meet our 3 knockers. One's a couple, and the other guy is one of the directors. So, and the couple starts heading back towards their door. They get the clearance. They're like, all right, we're going in. And this military guy shows up and interrupts their conversation. And then the dude, Vince Prince, he pulls out his fist, and she's like, dude, you gotta pound it or he won't talk to you.
Gotta pound it. Like, that's the rules.
So, that's the rules. And so he pounds it, and I was like, okay. Like, I'll admit, I kind of like that part. I like that little nuance. I was like, okay, this is like weird, but let's go with it,
As you steal that credo for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I was just like, I think I will make people pound it before they talk to me. I'm like,
even your child, your wife, the dog, the neighbor, the mailman.
Pound it. All right, I'm leaving. They're just like, oh, Dad left my fucking 6th birthday party because I wouldn't pound it. So, and yeah, I mean, I forget, like, the poem is just like, I don't want to be a rock anymore, basically, and like how the water shapes rocks.
I don't know why the fucking rocks put up with that fucking water.
Yeah, I don't know why these fucking rocks deal with this shit day in and day out. And I was like, and boyfriend of the year, he's just like, They're fucking rocks, man. I'm just like, he's got a point.
Shut up, Doris.
Yeah, he's like, are you not feeling well today? What's going on here? Do you need like an upper? I don't know. But like, it's a rock. It's what they do.
They're doing it right now.
Doing it. Like, look at them fucking doing it. Fucking doing it all the time. These goddamn rocks just being rocks. But so we're given some voiceover from the military that they only have 12 minutes. And they're like, hey, the other team got 15. They're like, well, the other fucking team didn't fucking make it back. And he's like, so you only got 12. And I expected with these cool suits and stuff, Kevin, that there'd be some sort of, I don't know, a rope maybe to pull them back.
Maybe. Correct.
You know, like, I mean, they're all like super suited up and got cameras. How are you going to get that footage back if you don't, you know, at least pull a dead carcass back through?
Yeah, how do you get these people back? Like, what if they go in there and it's a pure abyss? What if they go in there and they're just disintegrate instantly? What, you know, the what ifs are, you know, monumental,
the
right?
Science
they're endless.
Disappear instantly with the suits. I feel like
it's just like you might as well just put a goddamn camera, a GoPro on a dog's head and have it run at the goddamn door.
Go, Fido, go. The dog's just like, nah, man, that shit's scary in there. Like, no. I'm not going back ever again.
You just throw a tennis ball in
peanut
there.
butter on your balls. I'm still not doing it. So, yeah. So they, you know, it's go time. They go in. They're in a room. It's just somewhere else, and that's it. They started kind of narrating, and I did like them kind of narrating to the camera. I thought that was surprisingly well written, and well acted. The way they just kind of kept calm and kept doing it, especially the Drake and Josh guy.
Vince and Becky.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other guy's name.
Oh. Pat, I want to say.
Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah, but I think they called him Pat.
That's fair. They're friends.
Yeah. And so they go in, they split up instantly. Again, another like, what?
Fucking idiots.
Like, you guys want to make it back, right? You only have 12 minutes and you've wasted like 5 of them in this doorway. But whatever. And so we go through, I think, Pat's room first. He finds this room with like a woman in it and a bunch of roses. And you want to talk about this one, Kevin, or you just...
Oh, I vaguely remember it. She's just like sitting there crying, right?
Yeah, she's like, how could you... Don't look at me that way. And he's just like, you're not fucking real. And then she kind of like smirks at him and shit. And
you got me.
Yeah. And he just kind of stays there. And then you're just like, okay, well, after we've introduced each room to each person, we move on to the next one. So then we go to Becky's room. She's in like this kitchen. Like bottles are upside down and like balancing on top of each other in ways that are, you know, impossible. Things are, and she's narrating. She's like, the forks and spoons are organized in weird shapes, or, you know, like just interesting shapes and everything. Like they're just like, why would you put your forks like that type of thing?
Chair, yeah, the chair's on just 2 legs and everything's tilted and wacky.
Yeah, and she's just like, there's a crib, and then the door voice is like, look inside the crib.
Why won't you look inside the crib?
So she looks in, there's just like a shitty toy in there. She's like, fucking embrace him. And then, you know, Vince comes, you know, faceless Vince, I'll say, comes in the back door, or starts to come in the back door, and then like, boom, we got to go to Vince's room. And then I kind of liked his room the best. He has just this endless amount of rooms where he sees like the statue. So he's going through, he's just like, fucking clock says 3 o'clock. Fucking statues, pretty statue-like. He's like, all right, let's go through here. Oh, there's another room through the closet. And he goes in, he's like, oh, this clock says 9 o'clock. Fucking the statue's a little fucked up a little bit. You know, he's just like, oh, this guy likes cars. And he's the next one, he's just like, oh, we got some globe action. He's just like, oh, this statue's real messed up. And his felt like it was getting increasingly more like you're getting further and further in the door. But I was also just like, you should just probably be out of time by now, but whatever.
Yeah, like the time was kind of losing track, even though it was counting along. And I was like, is this supposed to be symbolic? Are we in the mind's eye here? Are we inside their thoughts and fears and wants and needs and desires? Is the door just breaking them down mentally and forcing us to view? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what is really transpiring here? Are they even in the door? What is this door? Is this what is this?
Yeah, because for Pat, as we quickly find out, his is directly from his mind.
Mm-hmm.
From Becky, we come to find out this is like, in a way, a fear of hers. But with Vince, it's not until he gets to his like second room that it's like, oh, okay, this is more, I guess, in line with him. Like his didn't fit with the other two, because they were using it to just like move the story along differently. So we go back to Pat's room. Pat is dealing with the woman, trying to get her to talk and stuff. And she's just like, oh, you're going to pretend you don't know me? And he's just like, you're fucking not real. You're the door. She does the smirk thing again. But you come to, or then she starts to pretend that she's like dying or whatever. He's on top of her, trying to help her. And then she's, busts out a smile again. He's just like, man, what the fuck, door? Quit fucking with me. But like she does
it's
something.
so weird though. Like he's so conscious of it, but he falls for it. And
exactly.
I didn't get his where
it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's all a ruse. The door's manipulating you, but you're falling for it. But you're falling for it. So I was like, is this supposed to is it supposed to represent like human behavior or something? What is this?
Or just like the connection with this woman is so deep, he just can't help but fall for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's just like, you're not her, like whatever. But then all these rose petals start forming in his mask and just basically fill his mask until he suffocates from
like blocks out his air. Yeah.
Yeah, which was, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the woman just like sits there, like the door woman just sits there. And then you see a picture of the two of them as a couple on the nightstand, and it's just kind of alluded to that she like overdosed. So, and then it's like, well, is that his guilt? That's kind of felt what
like he could never save her.
Yeah, like he couldn't save her, and he's living with the guilt, but not anymore. And then we cut to hers, and then like the magnet doodle faced Vince is there, and she's just like, stay back. I have a phaser. That's what she's calling her pistol, which I thought was kind of, a cute homage to like sci-fi. Like, this is my phaser, like they're just kind of embracing like, this is the future. The future sucks. I have a phaser. Deal with it.
Oh, I thought it was like a more of a reference between them. Like,
yeah,
I thought like the baby, and I was like, is it his baby? Is this supposed to be like a future baby toy? Is this an inside joke they had about things because of whatever? It's kind of like my overall problem with the whole experience that this movie is. I see glimmers of good ideas and interesting ideas, I should say. Mm-hmm. And I think if there was maybe one overarching narrative, like if the DJ guy kept the stories linked and we kept going maybe back to the kids, to the teacher that we meet soon, and then these guys, and they kind of, had a tighter narrative. And to give these characters something. It's just they're just there. I don't get time, but you're trying to do all these like heavily character driven things with them and give me this depth, but there's no time, and it's just fuck, they're dead already, or we've moved on, and scene. It's just what? Yeah.
Like they're too focused on just kind of getting their idea out than to link all these ideas.
It's like a class project where we're all just supposed to film our version of whatever the teacher pitched, and then we just kind of mash it together and go, see there? That's what happened.
Definitely a news story.
Mm-hmm.
So, So with Becky's, eventually she has this like breakdown. She's like pregnant all of a sudden. He's just like, hey, babe, this isn't good for the baby. And she shoots the the fake Vince and like runs away. And then Vince, he comes out of his room and he starts running through all the closets again. There's a person in the bed all of a sudden that's like popping up, and he's just like, fucking just freaking out. He gets out of there. He's in a different doorway, and then there's himself like sitting at a desk, and he's just like, what the fuck? And he starts narrating. He's like, I am in another room. There's another me here. The door has created a different version of me. And then another guy comes up the stairs, and it's him again, and he's just like, "Oh shit, there's like more of me." And the one that's in like this kind of like weather
Rains.
waterproof jacket,
Yeah, he's wearing like
slicker
some
thing.
rain gear windbreaker thing.
Yeah, he's like, "How do I know you're not the cop?" And he's like, "I'm the fucking one in the suit, smart guy." And then like, boom, door takes away his suit, puts him in different clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And then Becky shows up with her fucking phaser, and she's just like, "I'm gonna fucking light it up, motherfuckers! I'm gonna light it up." And then boom, they put her in different clothes too, and you're just like, "Oh,
I did not like some of the camera work here.
it's
When
not."
you ever see Pi,
Yeah,
where
definitely.
they have the mounted camera on the actor and it's like in his face, and he's just doing
No, you hate that.
in the convenience store.
Hmm.
Like, it's really kind of one of the first times you've seen that, almost maybe in a major motion picture of some kind.
Yeah.
They do that kind of here, where she goes into, and it's very pushed in on her. It's very tight and claustrophobic. I assume they wanted me to feel that way, but I don't know. It just didn't.
Well,
It didn't
we're in a
connect
big
with me.
open room, so it's kind of weird to feel that way, you know?
Yeah, I just didn't get it. I didn't get why they chose to do that. Maybe to create action when she pulls up the gun or the toy or whatever. And I was like, well,
Well, it's very anticlimactic the way she just kind of walks in. Like she has no presence when she walks in. It's just like,
yeah, it's not a big reveal. Like, here's Becky. She's here to shoot something. She's cranked out of her mind. The door's got her
fucking
tripping.
super crank. She just saw her fucking baby fetus in her stomach again. She's not happy. She is not happy.
She's not happy.
And and what I found particularly weird here is the real Vince, the one that we know because we got to see the transformation as an audience, doesn't just go over to her instantly like, these two are they're copies, they're not me, and just start
Yeah.
like, we need to get out of here. We have
Like,
X
hey,
amount of
Becky,
minutes.
this was
Let's
our
go.
mission. We came in with Patrick. This is my call sign. Your number. Our suits work like this. The door's
Yes.
fucking with you right now.
Fucking
Shoot those
anything.
motherfuckers. Anything. He just played along instantly to the who's who game.
Yeah, and so the first one we meet is just like, I'm the fucking real one, just instantly out of the door. I'm like, well, that's what the real one should have said, but he's just like, oh, this guy's lying. And then Becky puts the gun up, and he's the only one with his hands up too. And I'm just like, well, I guess that is the fucking passes the test.
Shoot them all, Becky. Fuck it.
Yeah. And so, does she shoot the?
She shoots
Oh, and
the
then like
the rain jacket guy first.
yeah, the third one is like,
He comes
oh,
up
maybe
the
it's
stairs.
something we're wearing. That's what gives it away. So she shoots the rain jacket one first, and then the third one that said shoot, that like it's based on what we're wearing. He goes and he just pours into her mind and is like, it's about the baby. You didn't want to give up the baby, but I was just like, fucking rock star lifestyle, give up the baby and shit,
Mhm.
and you regret that. And so she shoots the real one. She's just like, fucking YOLO, motherfucker. And so the third one's like, you shot the real one. And you're just like, I didn't understand that either. I was like, why did the door help her? Did the door change some? I don't know. You never will tell me, and we'll never come back to this. But did she change the door? Did the Vince guy somehow change the door? Did they get like so close to human emotions that it changed them? Because I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. She's gonna take like the fake Vince out. But instead, she's just like, I'm not a fucking rock anymore. Time to roll. Boom. And I was like,
Everybody's like, what? I don't get it.
yeah.
Be like water.
So she just shoots herself, and that's how we end that story. Like, no one even cares that these guys don't come out. We don't touch base on any of that. We don't do anything.
Like, if they would have pulled out, like, with the camera, and you would have saw a couple of scientists staring at the door, and he's like, damn. He's like, 12 minutes? And he's like, dude, they were in there for 30. He's like, well, we lost another 3. What do you want to do?
Yeah, but like we need to go down to 6 or something.
Yeah.
Like, just some sort of discussion of like, all right, we're going to change our tactics, anything.
Yeah, 12's too long. It gets in their head by 12. And he's like, well, what do you think's happening in there? He's like, you want to go? And then it cuts, you know what I mean? And you just see like, another suit sitting on there. They just suit up again. You can use the same suits. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but instead it's like, it comes across as the knockers are in charge of everything, but they're just volunteers. Like, we're not really told they're scientists or anything like that. And obviously they're not following any sort of scientific process. So
give me some dickhead in a general's fucking costume going.
yeah,
round up another 3 monkeys to throw in the portal,
Yeah.
or the door. That's the other movie.
No, that's the fucking wrong way. Give me some greyhounds this time. They're like, what? I'm so confused, sir. Can you just start over? He's just like, 3 people through the wall thingy with the magnet and the boop boop, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we'll just go. Okay, just give me 3 people, please. I don't know."
Yeah,
Anymore.
I don't know. It's just you're not there long enough.
Well,
to
and
get
if you introduce this
invested.
general, it's like, it's kind of just like it's like what you were saying. It's like you need something to connect these narratives, so you need to almost introduce different characters that can interact with these 3 different stories. Like, I don't particularly need the people from these 3 stories to continue, but I need a guy or just a like a female scientist or like
You
you
need
said,
either
a general,
a
connecting
crypt
these 3
keeper type
stories.
character that can hold our hand through each
Yeah.
in and out
Well,
dip.
Well, it's like if you had the 2, they could have played off of each other. So like the doctor can, or the scientist shows up to the first one. She's like, "This school's fucked. This is the like get the data. This and da.
Yeah, because
And then the
dude, that
second
would
one,
even been
you have the
better.
general who's just like, he's just like, fuck. He's like, get me 3 more. And like you said, and then like in the last one, you just like they're there together, and she's like, this is what I found. He's just like, yeah, you're not gonna believe this shit. And then they see like the third door, and like you're like, oh damn, so.
Yeah, that would have been fine because if you would have put that general at all those spots, they could have been, hey, the last anomaly was at the school. You go to the school, that's why the school's all red because the soldiers were flipping through it, and maybe that's why you had fucking jets clearing a pathway to whatever. I don't know what they're bombing because the doors just sit there.
Yeah, who fucking knows?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was like, are the doors sending something to attack us through space? What?
Yeah, and underwear man.
Yeah, well, of course, clearly, and always.
I don't want to body shame that guy, but fucking put your pants back on.
Oh, he's like, well, fuck you, sit
He's
at
like,
home
fuck
high
you,
and mighty in your
pull up.
fucking
Bright green
BVDs.
undies, you dick. I'm like,
That
no.
was real fucked up, dude. You gotta skim past that, dude. Total asshole.
Hell no. We stared at that man's butt for way too long. I was like, man, this flat ass motherfucker not filling out
doing
this
anything
fucking
for you. Want to
underwear.
get a little chub?
Definitely wasn't. I was just like, oh, come on, man. This is like seeing myself in the mirror right now. Jesus.
Everybody's like, don't try to save it. Boo.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, that's why I think you could, if you introduce like 2 characters, then you don't have to like bore the audience with like how's this fucking general get into everything? If you just have like, I don't know, just like almost like a little squad of people that you're connecting all the stories with, but you don't really ever get that squad story, but they remain intact, And like maybe one time they just show up and they're all missing their like right eye. And you're like, why are they all missing their right fucking eye? This is fucking insane and awesome. I want to know that story. They're like, nah, you get this other one. And you're like, fuck, I want to know more about the right eyes being gone.
You could do that. You could see other groups of knockers or something, and like you don't have to follow everyone. You just need that thing of like it could be a throwaway line from another character. Hey, did you hear what happened at the school? And he's like, yeah, there's another one. He's like, they just keep popping up. And what would have saved you is the teacher guy that we follow in the next story. He's off the grid and he has one in his backyard, which is in the middle of nowhere. And he could have been one of the scientists that just quote unquote either disappeared or went rogue. And he can be like, yeah, General Hammond, I fucking ditched that dude's fucking nutbag squad, bunch of carnies and shit. And I'm out here and I found one and I'm doing it the right way. Like I'm not trying to jam guns in its face and beat answers out of it. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm not trying to weaponize it. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, like something like that. Like it does, you can still tell your individual stories, but just a throwaway line, and then the viewer would be like, "Hey, thanks, I appreciate that."
Make me feel like this is the same world and everyone's dealing with the same problem, rather than just kind of like, there's 3 doors. We said these doors are popping up everywhere, but like you have to travel really far in between 2 doors. So
I don't know. And you could have used the podcast host guy or the internet radio guy to tell me events that are happening around the world.
Yeah, but he does. He's just like, shit's weird. And you're like, yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I didn't like that either because it felt that it had the same kind of same problem as the poem where he's just there to talk for like 20 seconds. And he tells you everything that he needs to tell you. And you're like, well, how is this like a podcast?
He just
I know,
talks,
yeah.
Right?
No, everything he has to tell you. I didn't say it was useful.
Yeah,
but
he should have
you're
been
just
in.
like, is that the end of your podcast? Is your podcast 20 seconds? Because you're clearly just like done talking.
Well, that's why I
And
felt like he felt like internet radio. Like intermittently, you could be tuning in, or maybe other people that are trying to follow the events in the world, and they only have access to kind of him,
yeah,
and
that
he
was
could have just
Midnight
been.
Mike, and now we're gonna go back over to Scary Sheila. She's like, ah, and you're just like, oh,
Well, he could have just been dropping nuggets about what's happening in the world, our previous stories, or kind of even setting up our next story. He's like, oh, I got word from my guy out there in Georgia. There's a teacher or somebody, he's off the grid. He got a door, but he ain't telling nobody. That kind of thing. Like, and I'd have been like, oh, that's a cool setup for this next story. Thank you.
yeah. Instead, it was more like exposition of like, oh, did you hear how they're sending people through the doors and blah blah blah. And it was just
Well,
again, it was more of telling me than showing me. And I was like,
in
man,
all
stop
honesty,
this.
he kind of took away a lot of the validity. He kind of made it seem silly.
Mm-hmm.
And because he didn't treat it with, it was just weird and wacky to him. But the
It was like
characters,
half the Earth's population's gone. You're just like, this is pretty weird, guys. Huh?
well, like
Everybody?
the characters, even from the knockers to the kids, they were all treating it pretty seriously. So I thought when he came in, there was just too much levity to everything, and it was just so of like trying to make it like a creature feature. And I was just like, well, he didn't fit. He didn't fit with what he needed to do as just a narrative device. But we get to the third story. It's this teacher, and he's in the middle of nowhere, and he has all this audio equipment hooked up, and there's a door. It's just floating there, and he's made contact with it, right?
It's not floating. It's grounded.
Was it? It looked like it was floating to me.
No, I was grounded.
Oh. He's made contact, and he's had some dialogue. He's like, hey, what's up? And it's like, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, oh, shit, you can talk. And
Yeah, you're not just in my head anymore. Like my ears heard that.
yeah, so you're like, wow, this is the first time we've interacted with this entity. So what's going to come of it? And he's just trying to like create a bond with it. And he's like, I'm really excited. I got to tell somebody. I'm going to tell maybe, who do I tell? Well, I think it's Jamal. His name was Jamal. So he goes to tell like, I think his name was Kathy, when that's his confidant, like one of his peers.
I think it was, yeah.
I think it was
Pretty sure
Kathy,
it was.
because it was Kathy and Leo, and she brought her boyfriend, I guess, which was
Yeah,
really
I
awkward.
remember
and
Leo. It was super weird because I was like, that's an age gap. That's a pretty big. Yeah, it is Kathy.
well, like that, the Leo character, I felt like he didn't belong in the movie. He felt like he was in a
No.
different movie.
Yeah, he was so waka waka. Like so after making contact, then Jamal gets out his best can of beans
And
and
cheese puffs, and I was like, bro,
Cheese
who's
puffs?
eating just the beans like that?
I was like,
Can you at least put 3 spoons down?
well, he didn't know, so he only cleaned
Well,
two.
you always put
You
down
know,
3
he had
for
a
that
spork.
accidental guest, and then you're going to say like, hell, black beans, none for me.
He just had a spork and a spoon. He was like, well, I assume Kathy would take the spork because she
I
seems
mean, that
more like
must
she
have
needs
been-
to stab the beans than to
That's
just,
how you know someone, if you're just opening up their favorite can of beans for them.
yeah, like, here you go, Kathy. I know you're a big fan of cold black beans and
Dustin's coming
cheese
over.
puffs.
Get out the lima beans.
Get out the lima beans. No, not the chickpeas. No, that's for Mark. Yeah, no. You already opened the chickpeas?
Guess he's getting
That's
those.
I don't want him to go to waste. Call Mark too. See if he'll come over.
I mean, like maybe if he pulled out like a cold pizza and like some
I mean-
warm beer, I'd been like, that's a
Well,
homie,
you're-
right?
He had like a very like survival man, apocalyptic.
That's fine.
Food
You can
pantry.
get nacho cheese in the can.
Yeah, he was just weird. Like when he poured beans in, and then he was just like, "Hey, Kathy," and Kathy was like, "By the way, I brought my boyfriend," and I was like,
Who brings a boyfriend to the middle of he's in the middle of nowhere, everyone. I'm not fucking
Yeah.
around.
and maybe that's why she was like, "I don't know if I can feel safe in the middle of
But there was
nowhere
no
where no one can
beef.
hear you scream."
It wasn't like Kathy was like, Jamal, I don't know why you called me. I thought he's like, I made a breakthrough. She should be like, okay, I'm listening. I have a
And she's
door.
like, Leo, this is who I told you about. He was discredited and blah 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 blah. And
Yeah, it wasn't like they had heat or anything. So she was like, I'm just doing this out of courtesy because I believe what we were trying to do when it came to the doors was really a monumental thing. And you just maybe went too far. That's why you've been discredited. Something, right?
yeah,
Like I don't need that whole thing, but they were just kind of like, hey, I brought Leo, he's always down for
yeah.
whatever.
Leo's down to eat fucking cheese, but he's not really into cold black beans. But
At least he could have
he's
tried to
thinking
dip
about
them, and then I'd been like, oh, okay, that's weird too.
Okay, I'm like, that's fucking super weird, Leo. Like,
Dip,
but
dip.
whatever. You do you. Yeah. So he's just like, Kathy, I invited you because you're like my closest friend, my confidant. You can tell when she's like, this is my boyfriend, he's like real deflated of like either just like, oh, you brought a person and I don't really do people no more. Or he's just like, oh, you have a boyfriend. One of the two. I can't really tell which
You
one. It didn't
couldn't
really seem
tell
like it
because you weren't
mattered.
given enough time. Yeah, it
Yeah.
should have been like, oh, did he kind of have a crush on her and he thought this was going to win her over? And he's like, you're so admirable. You are the most brilliant man in the world. I love you. Take me now. And
Yeah.
then, by the way, here's Leo.
Yeah. So he's just like, I fucking admire you. And he's like, and Leo, Kathy brought you. And they're just like, yeah, man, like, fucking, what do you got going on here? And, Leo runs his mouth a little bit. And he's like, I have a door. But
And
you
you
guys
want to
kind of
know?
ruined it.
Yeah, he's like, I have a door. And this is why Leo feels like he's in another movie because he's really the only one with any energy. Like,
Yeah.
Jamal should kind of just be, he just had like a huge breakthrough, right? So he
Yeah.
should kind of be excited to tell one of his peers or
Yeah, he should be
confidants or
mad
whatever.
scientist right now. Like,
Yeah, he should be like,
fucking gosh,
Kathy, sit down, sit down. Do you want some beans? No, you don't want any beans. They're cold. That's so stupid. Why did I do cold beans? I thought that was pinto beans for dipping. It doesn't matter. I have a door. She's like, you have a fucking what? And then Leo could have been like, a door, dude, a door. That's what making people go disappearing. Don't
Yeah.
You can't go near there, Kathy. No. Wait.
Doors kill people.
Show me you have a door. I have to see this. You're fucking joking, Jamal. And he's like, I've talked to it.
Yeah,
You've
just some
got a
urgency of like,
Yeah, there should have been
some
this
risk, some
explosion
danger.
of energy of just like
Yeah.
what the either energy of hype or fear.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
but it was just more of kind of like, hey Dustin,
see this door.
I got
Let's see
a door. And
go
you're
see
like,
this.
yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, well, these beans are cold. Let's go check out your door, I guess. I mean,
I mean, I can
unless
heat
you
the
want to
beans
like
up.
warm them up real quick. Or
Oh man, I can to go to see the door. I mean, I don't have any bowls. That is the last bowl. You'll have to pour the beans in like your sock or the hand.
I can't bring the bowl though.
No, it's the bowl doesn't leave.
The bowl doesn't leave the trailer. Got it. No,
That's
I
why.
understand. I have a limited amount of bowls in my crazy man trailer as well, so I will hold the beans.
All right, just
I will keep
whatever
my
you
socks
do.
clean, and I will hold them, and I will just eat them from my hand as if they were Skittles, and be very disappointed.
All right, it's gonna be hot. Get ready.
I'm just like, fuck. They're like, that's as hot as it. It's fine. I don't have much emotion.
You've
I'm
dropped
a
all the beans.
emotionless character. I just drop them. I wipe it on my pants. You're just like, that's
Delicious.
Let's go see your door.
So we go
After
out.
I use the restroom. I assume there's some facilities here, or do
They're
you
all,
just
it's all
go in the
outside.
woods?
Everything's outside.
He's like,
It's
I have a trench.
It's by the door.
You've been shitting by the door. Oh yes, I show it my asshole every day.
So when we finally get to the door, Leo is kind of weirdly the only intelligent one. He's like, what if these things are getting involved radiation? What if they're doing this? And you're like, yeah, Leo, tell the viewers more stuff because we don't know because no one's ever taken the time to explain a door to us.
yeah, no one. And this guy, fucking
Completely
Jabal's just
ignored.
Like, don't worry about it, Leo. I got
Yeah.
this shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you have a bunch of audio equipment and a video camera. Like, did you have a Geiger? Or what the fuck is it?
Geiger
Is it a
counter.
Geiger? Yeah. Like, do you have one of those? Did you take any samples and mix it up in your crazy fucking camper lab or something? I mean,
No,
what do you
man, he's
mean
just,
you got this?
you know, his hair's still in there. His fingernails didn't fall out. His teeth didn't start shaking loose. He didn't
He's like,
become
listen, I've been able to
insanely
bust
sick.
more nuts than I've ever busted before in my life.
Do what?
Sperm count's fine. He's just
Oh.
like, Leo's like,
I don't think counting sperm works like that, Leo.
He's
Or
like, okay,
Jamal
which
or
one of us
whoever
is
you
a
had said that.
discredited doctor scientist? Okay, this guy. He's just like, all right, well, I'm gonna just be over here in this different scene and sneak off and call him a cop friend that conveniently works in this quote unquote small town. Maybe I don't fucking know.
I don't know that he had a cop on speed dial, so
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna call my boy Ricky. Tell him to show up fucking loaded with liquor, loaded with heat.
dude, Ricky shows up like he is at a goddamn bank robbery.
Yeah, he's just like, fucking put the money down, and they're just like, hey man, we
Anybody
don't want
that
any no
has
problems.
anyone that has a fucking beating heart is guilty is ready to get shot.
Well, if you're of light skin or I'm sorry, of dark skin.
No, dude, he
Because
was going to shoot Kathy too. Kathy's a white girl.
yeah, he was going to, and
Everyone's
yeah,
getting shot when this dude.
dude, he pointed that gun on the black man faster than anyone else, and she had to hit him with a stick, and even then, he still was like, "Okay, black guy who's really calm, you need to like go down on your knees real quick while I point gun at this crazy white woman." And I was like, "God, movie, you're so 2020." Like, Jesus.
It's this.
Like, he was trying to facilitate that racial drama because even he was just like, hey, oh, hey, I don't want any trouble. You know, it was just really weird.
No, he did want
Leo
trouble.
like,
He started talking with a gun instantly.
yeah. Well, no, Ricky did. Yeah, Ricky.
I'm surprised Ricky did just shoot the door and the camera for filming.
He was
him.
like, Ricky fucking shows up to shoot. Yeah.
Well, so
And
yeah,
this
okay,
is
that's
after, and we
so. This
skipped
is
the
what
part
happens.
Kathy
They communicate with the
talked
door
to
some
him,
more. They're like, "Hey, door, what's your name?" And the door's like, "It's just Jamal backwards. Don't trip." And Kathy's like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." And Jamal's like, "Isn't it?"
Loves you. He's just like, I'm gonna fuck that door later.
And Kathy's all soggy for the door because she's like, she is gonna unlock history's mysteries. And I was like, we already did that on History Channel, stupid.
She's like, you know everything, don't you, door? Starts just fucking putting her hand down her pants. The door's like, hey, whoa, Kathy, come on now. We just met. Like, cool it. Like, Leo's like, whoa, what the fuck? Come on, man. Save some for later. But then
that's
but then Leo's like, let me call my boy Ricky real quick. See what Ricky's got. He can bring you some uppers, some downers, some fucking.
You already used that.
Some 9 millis.
So they're having this real, like, you know, contact
Scientific
Jodie Foster moment and shit.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
yeah. They're definitely fucking first contact in this shit.
And then Leo's just like, I just called the heat. They're like, bro, why you always call the cops? He's like, 'cause I'm a snitch. Ricky shows up. He's like, everybody.
Within like 4 minutes, finds exactly where they are. He's just like, the GPS is incredible in these hills.
Well, Leo dropped a pin for Ricky, so he knew exactly where he was.
Yeah, he was just like, boop, here you go.
Hey, when you get here, just start shooting, homie.
He's like, it's weird. I was in the woods looking for a fucking door, and I saw that it took you guys like 25 minutes to hike here, but I just, I'm a sprinter,
Yeah, so it's real against everything to have a door and not report it. So they're going to unlock the history's mysteries. Leo's very uncomfortable. Ricky shows up, and he makes everybody, bow down, and I'm going to start shooting old fucking Jamal here.
Now, he really only makes Jamal bow down. He's just like, I see a black person, you bow down. And then everyone else is like, dude, what the fuck? And even Leo's just like, yo, bro, calm down. He's just like, shut up, Ricky. You always fucking invite trouble. This is, fucking.
Well, I thought like the door was going to shoot like a laser beam through his head. Like, don't fuck with my dog, Jamal. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, you just made a fucking friend for life. And then fucking Kathy just clubs him in the back of the head. It's like, finish him, Kathy. Like, he's staggering. Yeah. He still has a gun, you dumb hoe.
Well, and then he shoots Ricky, which was like,
yeah. No, Ricky.
Or no, Leo. Sorry, Leo. Yeah, he shoots Leo, and I was like, well, thank you, finally. But it was just like, okay. And then he's just like right back on Jamal. He's just like, oh, fucking, you made me do that. And Jamal's like, I am the only person complying with orders.
He's still monotone, hanging out.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like, he's like, Lamage. What's my name backwards? I don't even fucking know. Can I just call you Jamal as well, Door? Like, fucking whatever. A little help here, little help. And then the door just like snaps fucking Ricky's neck, I guess is how I interpret it. I don't know. It happens quickly, and I was like, I guess his neck got snapped. I don't know. And I mean, Ricky's out, and then now Jamal and Kathy can just go have real ugly scientist babies with poor vision because they both had glasses on.
With the door.
With the door in front of the door for sure. The door's just like, let's get this romance going here. I'd let Leo and Ricky's bodies on fire. That's romantic, right? They're like, door, that's a little morbid, but I'll allow it this time.
I hated this one the most because I felt like it had the most potential. Like,
Yeah.
I like low key, if you would have done this a little tighter, this could have probably been the whole movie, or at least the underlined like story, a real strong story B.
Him studying it, him kind of dealing with like, am I losing my fucking mind? Then he finally
Maybe him working with the knockers, feeding them information of how to navigate through the door because this other doors.
Even better, fucking rogue knockers. They're freelance knockers, not those government knockers. You don't want the government.
Those government knockers you've been used to. Try our freelance knockers.
Freelance knockers. And that's why they got the fringe and shit and the cool call names, and you're just like, oh shit, we got some fucking fringe, indie knockers here,
People are like, what are you talking about? Is this a movie still?
Is this still the same movie? But yeah, that would have been, I think, really cool. Yeah, and that would have been a way to do it. And maybe then they go in one of the times and they find the high school kids or something. You're just like,
they could have used the door to been like, hey, these kids there's this ultra door or something, because I don't know anything about what these things do or something. This is going to be a door where we push our scum of the universe through, and they're going to just take over Earth, and Earth's going to be a prison planet, or this is going to put out radiation, or this has all the answers to life, or whatever, right?
Yeah, you ever heard of the Big Bang? This is part 2. And you're just like, oh shit,
Yeah, just anything. But it was just kind of like, and we're out. We're going to go to the fucking Midnighter guy, and he's just...
Yeah, because I was like, oh, we still have some movie left. What are we going to do? And I was like, oh, don't do this. Please don't do this. Oh my God, don't do this.
Yeah, I assume it's the radio host podcast guy, right?
It is, yeah.
Radio guy?
Yeah.
And then...
Midnight Mike, as I'm calling him. That's not his name, but it feels right.
He's interviewing a scientist that knows a lot about the doors. He's been ground level with the doors. And I was like, wow, we could have used this guy to link the stories, I guess, but whatevs.
We could have used this guy to introduce the story, like
anything.
I don't know.
The only thing, so they're on this Zoom meeting, and I was like, listen, is he really going to do that Zoom meeting with 10% battery?
Yeah, I was like...
I could not stop staring at that goddamn battery cage. I was like, is it going to move?
And it went down. I was just like, come on, this thing would have sucked battery so fucking fast.
I was like, is this...
And that's why I say it's like a very 2020 movie, because I'm just like, ugh, we just had to do a Zoom fucking call. We don't have enough of this in our world, of mentioning it, and just, ugh.
I mean, I get it. Like, it does have a lot of, it's a product of its time, right? But I just thought this was so weird and out of place.
Very out of place, especially when that guy tries to act crazy and fails miserably. He's just like, I'll just stare over here for a minute. And I was like, that's not acting. That's bad acting.
Well, basically, the scientist dude is kind of saying, hey, you got me. Like, the dude, the host, the radio host guy is just like, it's so weird. You're so weird. Everything's weird. And we're like, we get it, dude. Please stop. And
he's like, but do you understand how weird it is? It's like,
he's almost mocking the situation. And that's why that was just the exclamation point of why I didn't think that character needed to be in this movie or have that tone with everything.
Yeah.
And the scientist guy's like, dude, like, this is for real. But the scientist dude is speaking in metaphors and just riddles and shit. And you're just like, my God, no one has any definitive.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything worth hearing at all.
Exactly. And I'm just, you pray as the viewer, you're getting some sort of like wrapping it up. And here's a little bow on it, guys. Sorry, it was a little disconjointed, but here's what we were trying to do, the end.
Just give us some sort of like, I don't know, ending insight into the doors and why this will continue. I don't know. But yeah, he's just like, oh, you'll have so much insight. Why can't you see it? Blah, 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 blah.
It was like a Brave Wyatt promo. He was just talking shit. I'm just like, what the dude, no. But apparently the midnight Mike, the doors are getting in his head. He's starting to lose it. He's starting to break down. He starts taking his clothes off, and you're like, I've seen those BVDs before.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
And I go, this is how you bookcase your fucking movie?
I don't think it's the same underwear.
You don't think so? That's just their move, is to get you down to your tidy whities and hit the road.
If you're a moderately out of shape older white male, you're going down to boxer briefs, you know. So like just instantly. I mean, all the credit, he was able to walk up the stairs with his pants down around his knees like that.
It's a
but
pro
also
move.
weird that they didn't have him just take his pants all the way off. You know,
Well, they really kind of stuck
like,
with it a long time, and I was like, we don't really need. We get it.
Like I'm like watching him bored doing all his crazy shit. I'm not even like listening to the guy at this point because I'm just like, you're not saying anything. You're just talking. So it was a horrible.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it was just like, fuck them all, huh, guys? Right to the bitter end. So, and then it just kind of ends. It just felt very, I don't know, like Blair Witch 2 almost in a way, or just like, you know, any found footage thing that happened after Blair Witch where you're just like, this sucks. I don't want to watch this anymore.
It just, like, I would have just been happier with like news footage of the doors popping up and maybe people either coming back or just, hey, this is it. This is probably the last broadcast we're ever going to do. These doors, they've taken my crew. I'm down in this bunker. And then maybe we cut to another stream of someone just being like, this is it, man. This is my mom. I miss her every day. And he's holding like a picture or something. And you just see all this frantic, because we started with these 911 calls in the beginning. Maybe we end with the last moments of how we connect with each other nowadays. It's all streaming. It's all online. He's like, well, I just hope you're out there, mom. I'm coming to see you. Vroom, door sucks him up. You know what I mean? Like I would have just like a montage of that or something to kind of walk us out. But it was just like, hey, dude, check out this dude losing it because of the doors.
I mean, and I think it's about 4 or 5 minutes long, and it's just so incredibly boring. Like, I was like, why did you include this? This is, I mean, the last story, you know, at least ended kind of on like this moment, you know? But this is just, oh, let me talk and be kind of weird. And then you're going to see this guy go down in his underwear.
Yeah, it really hurt. Okay. It didn't fit. It felt like you said, like a found footage, like trying to be spooky and just uncomfortable. And the doors create this, you know, in your mind and your mind's eye and its perception. It makes you feel, it's like, dude, stop it. We already did that with the knocker thing. And it was wasn't very concise, and it just, I don't know, it didn't work. So.
Yeah, and he keeps repeating the thing we learned in the third one of being like, what was it, like refreshed. Yeah, it's like, you will be refreshed and blah blah blah, and he just kept going back to it. I was like, okay, man. Yeah.
Well, because the host guy was confused by it, and then it just upset us because we got what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I was just like, I get it, move on. He's like, no, 5 more minutes of me talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, this promo sucks, like, a lot.
Just just rambling.
Yeah, that's what it felt. And I get that maybe that's what it was supposed to be, the ramblings of a madman. But then make it interesting at least, you know. Make him say, like, or get someone who can just, like, really cut a fucking promo on me then, where I'm just like, okay, I'm listening, you crazy bastard.
You know, these doors are showing us who we are as a society and how we fail in every moment and and how they're coming to take us away. You know, okay, I got it. We're awful. We're insects. Great. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Just anything would have been better than just staring at these two assholes staring back at me.
And me staring at the fucking battery life. Like, plug it in. You're not gonna make it.
Like, is the power grid? Did they get the power grid? Did a door show up in the power grid? Probably, but we'll never know.
The guy had a bunch of audio equipment. He's got maybe a generator. He didn't warm with the beans. There is no power.
Hey, you gotta be sparing, okay? Video equipment, that's priority. Beans, low priority. They're good, cold, wet, dry.
Good for your heart.
With Cheeto puffs. Just, you know. The more you eat, the more you toot.
Just the more you fart, bro.
Whatever.
That's it.
That's it.
It's Doors. It's not your mama's Doors.
Nope.
It's a movie called Doors.
Would you recommend it, Kevin?
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Hard
Very
pass.
hard pass.
I like the premise. I just really didn't I couldn't vibe with any approach to the said premise. I like the idea of just something popping up around the world, bringing us all together, questioning maybe our daily lives, our life on the planet, or whatever, however you want those things and what you want them to represent. Kevin Portals to hell. A fucking Doom guy could have came out and just started waxing everything. I've been like, fucking, this is sick.
Yeah.
Anything. It just felt like a missed opportunity. It's their story. They got to tell it. My mind was just rampant of all these different things they could have done. I really was hoping they would do. Glimmers of interesting things, but just really, really can't recommend unless just can't recommend it.
Yeah.
Not even if you're bored.
I see what they were trying to do. You know, they're trying to kick off this other anthology. You know, the other one was horror. This one's sci-fi. And whereas I would like a sci-fi anthology, I don't think all of them have to connect their story. Like, we found a way to do it, but obviously that's not what their take was.
Right.
They were just like, use this door thing, and you got to be somewhat consistent with it, but not enough to where it's actually consistent. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I read that premise, I was like, oh, this, if they do anything kind of remotely interesting, this could be good. But if they fuck it up, they're gonna fuck it up hard, and they did. So, hard pass for me for sure. And I will not check out Doors 2. You know,
no.
Morrison's Revenge. I'm not gonna watch it. So,
well, maybe we'll get off our bullshit. This and been an accident. They've all been sci-fi related movies, sci-fi in some regard. It hasn't been hard sci-fi because you got to really pay attention to those.
Yeah.
Sci-fi influence?
Sci-fi, horror, thriller, indie.
Yeah, that's it. That's us. That's us versus movies. That's an episode. It's a podcast. We try to do it once a week. You can catch us on your favorite podcast providers. You can check it on the YouTube a week later if you're into that. You can tell your friends, like, subscribe, all that jazz, whatever gets you through the day. We appreciate you hanging out with us, giving us a listen. Dustin.
Take us out, Mike. Midnight Mike, where are you? Shit's weird.
So weird.